Hey guys, it's Rob with Strategy Simple, and we've got a really fun topic today. We're talking about sales and marketing alignment. Do you really have it? It's pretty critical. This one impacts pretty much your whole business. So if you don't have it, it's going to negatively impact revenue. If you do have it, it's going to positively impact revenue. It can absolutely have an impact on cost, and it's a productivity issue. So let's go ahead and run through this. I got a couple of interesting slides for you, and I thought we would just kind of run through it. So we're going to start with this. In the digital first era, sales reps get fewer opportunities to engage buyers. So they need to make every interaction count. Maximizing buyer engagement starts with sales and marketing alignment. Take a look at that quote again. So that's from a company called Seismic. They actually help in sales enablement and some other stuff. But I really like the intensity of this, right? So we are in a digital first era. Every sales rep that I've talked to, every producer that I've talked to, every sales manager, every CEO that I talk to are talking about how they're getting less at-bats or getting fewer opportunities. So to maximize that engagement, you have to have your marketing and your sales aligned. So I can't emphasize this enough. And then I actually found a really interesting quote. And this actually, if you follow me on social media, you'll actually see this quote here. But 74% of high-performing organizations have strong sales and marketing alignment. And that's from Aberdeen. So if you think about that for a second, 74% of the ones that are doing really well have really good alignment. So, you may think, oh, my team's got alignment. That's great. How hard could it be? Well, it's actually really hard. And it's not that it's hard. It's just that there's several things that come into it and that can negatively impact that alignment and can make it so that it's not intentional in most cases, but let's just kind of run through it. So I've got some examples, right? All right, sales and marketing alignment. How can you get it, right? So you're going to start with planning. So you're going to go through and make sure that the goals that each group, that sales and marketing, and really the overall business, that they're all aligned. And then the vision, kind of what you're shooting for as far as where you're overall trying to go, that's aligned. And I'll talk about that. We're going to talk about the ideal customer profile and avatars. It's amazing to me, but it happens. I was actually talking to a client just the other day, and what the CEO was going after versus what marketing was going after and what sales was pursuing, 3 different targets. So we're going to make sure that there's alignment there. The buyer's journey and the sales process. Those are 2 different things. So I want to make sure that you get alignment on that one, and we're going to cover that. Customer pain points and value. Making sure that you're actually talking about the same things and you're trying to solve the same problems. And then marketing qualified leads and sales qualified leads. So we're going to talk about those briefly. All right. So that's what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into this. So again, planning goals and vision, ideal customer profile and avatars, the buyer's journey, sales process. So let's just go ahead and jump into this so I can keep this as short as possible. Right. All right. Planning goals and vision, right? What am I talking about when I talk about that, right? So one of the biggest challenges is that in a lot of cases, marketing may not know what the net goal of the business is, right? What are you trying to achieve? Like, is it a revenue goal? Is it a market share goal? Is it, acquisitions? Like, think about what it is that you're trying to do and make sure that the marketing team is fully aligned to that. On the flip side of that, sales are very driven as far as they just want to close, right? They just want to get new business. So making sure that they're going after the same goals and the vision that you have for the company, that they're aligned to that. And then making sure that that marketing and sales are aligned up as well. So in a lot of cases, they might be shooting for the same thing, but they're going about it with different markets, right? So making sure that they're going after those. Is really key. And I know that sounds silly. When I was writing the Simple Focus Plan a long time ago, that came up, right? Making sure that everybody does it. So typically the process is you have the leadership team or the leader, the CEO, writes his plan, right? And then it cascades down and everybody writes their plan based on that. And if they do that, that's a really easy way to get alignment. If you need some help with that, if you want to see the Simple Focus Plan, just shoot me a note and I'll share that with you. All right. Next one, ideal customer profile and avatars. I kind of talked about this a little bit just now, but making sure that you're actually going after the same customers, right? I mean, you'd think that was the case all the time, but it may not be, right? So by the ideal customer profile, who is it that's the perfect fit for your company? Making sure that marketing knows that, and that sales agrees with it, right? They may not be aligned there. And then the avatar is a fictional representation of that ideal customer profile. So the ideal customer profile is going to be the firmographics and the psychographics and the demographics, right? That's all the numbers, right? Company size, industry, location, age, if you're going after B2C or personal lines or whatever. But making sure that you understand what that profile looks like. And you can have more than one profile. Let's be very clear. Just because you're selling one thing doesn't mean you only have one. You could have 10 or 15 different customer profiles. The avatars are the representation of what a person that fits that ideal customer profile, that is the buyer for your product, that you've got an identification of who they are. And you can name them, you can give them an age and a location and what their education was and where they went to school and do they have kids and where they go to church and what kind of car they drive, all these different things, right? But you have to make sure that they're aligned, that marketing is going after the same people that sales wants them to go after. And again, this is a simple thing that you can do. So I'm going to stop beating that horse there. All right. The buyer's journey and sales process. So this happens all the time, right? So the sales team is going after, and they're following their sales process, right? So they're doing that. And in a lot of cases, the content that's created by marketing for the buyer's journey, as they're going through the different stages of awareness and research and all that other stuff, right? I call it the buyer's arc, right? Because it makes it really simple. But making sure that that's aligned with the sales process and the information that's being shared as far as where they are. And as people consume that content and they move through the buyer's journey, that they're communicating that with the sales team. I'm actually going to do another video on that whole alignment piece and making sure when you look at the sales funnel what that looks like. So keep an eye out for that one. So just making sure that marketing and sales are both aligned on what the buying process, what the buyer's journey looks like is, and what the sales process is internally in your organization. All right. Next one. Customer pain points and value. You'd think this would be spot on, like, oh, I've got perfect alignment. My team knows exactly what it is. And I'm going to say, are you sure? Really? Because in a lot of cases, the challenges that marketing is aware of and the challenges that sales hears on the street could be completely different, right? So, that's one of the main things that you have to make sure that it's there. And then the value, like how your product or service or solution solves that challenge, you've got to make sure that they are absolutely aligned. Because if they're not, and what the salesperson and the producer is saying in front of the customer versus what marketing is trying to promote, and then that might even be different than what leadership is doing, right? I mean, so you've got to make sure that when it comes to the customer pain points or the challenges that the customer is trying to solve by purchasing your product or your service, and then the value that you bring to that and how you solve that problem, you've got to make sure that that's tight, right? So again, it sounds like it's really simple, but it's really not. So, all right, this one's a fun one. Marketing qualified leads and sales qualified leads, right? So what is the definition of that, right? And again, it sounds like, oh, that should be really easy. Like a marketing qualified lead is anybody that fills out the form on the website. No. And that's not a sales qualified lead just because they said, hey, right? Turn it over, because that's the easiest way to create conflict, right? Is if marketing just turns over every lead as fast as they come in without doing any kind of information on it or making sure that they're qualified, the sales team's just going to be like, their leads are garbage, they're not ready. And it goes back to when you look at your market, even if they raise their hand as a customer, 3 to 5% of the market's ready to buy now, right? Half are not ready to buy right now, but they're in the market, and the other half, they're just not. So, somebody might be trying to collect information or whatever. So making sure that you understand and that it's a qualified marketing lead, and as they go through that process, as far as the research process and the buyer's journey, when they become a real lead, then they get handed off to sales, right? Not just there was I think I had a quote on here the other day, right? That everybody's not your prospect, right? That's not true. So, don't think that everybody is a prospect. So making sure that you get alignment between what is a marketing qualified lead, what is a sales qualified lead, and when does that handoff happen. And I recommend that you put up an SLA, a service level agreement, so that they know exactly what that is. And if marketing throws a lead to sales and it's not qualified, they just broke the SLA, right? So they can actually say, hey, look, you said you were going to do this. This is what you did. And vice versa, right? So if marketing does hand it over and sales doesn't follow up on it, they just broke their SLA, right? So put those kind of things in place. So that's really it. This is a longer video. I apologize for that. But, as we go through and talk about some of these things, these are pretty in-depth topics. So I always ask, if you like this content, I ask that you give me a thumbs up, like the comment, give me a comment down below, and then share it with your friends, right? And if you need help with anything, go to Strategy Simple. We're happy to help you out. This is what we do. We're a marketing and strategy firm that helps with sales enablement, marketing strategy, marketing communications, and what that impact can do from a revenue standpoint. So, the easiest way to think about it is fractional marketing leadership. So we can actually come into your organization, take on that role, and do that. So if you'd like more information, shoot me a message. Again, hope you like the content, and we'll talk with you soon. Thanks.